It's a probability game.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Nice to see you all in the flesh instead of over Zoom. I think this might be the first time I've seen some of you in person, so this is a treat for me. My name is Ann Carter Mulligan. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admissions here at Batten. I can answer any questions that you might have after this session. I'm trying to triage questions, protect Katie as a resource for a while, but once you are have matriculated, Katie will be a wonderful resource and advisor to you throughout your time here. So I just wanted to say hello and welcome and congratulations. We're thrilled that you're here. I will immediately turn things over to Katie Straight to introduce yourself and to get things started.
Great, thank you, Ann.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome. It is wonderful to see each of you. I'm glad that you made it out, even though it's not the loveliest day to troop out here. So it's good to meet you in person. I've heard much about you and know that we as a school are very excited to welcome you to Batten to the Accelerated MPP program. So on behalf of the Academic Affairs team, I want to offer you our congratulations for your admittance to the program. And basically what I want to do today is just take some time to make sure you understand the basics of the Accelerated MPP curriculum, and then other resources that are here at Batten for our accelerated and postgrad MPP students. As Ann said, my name is Katie Straight. I'm the Assistant Director of Graduate Academic Programs here at Batten. So I serve as the advisor for all of our incoming and current MPP students. So anybody who is in our current Masters of Public Policy program, I'm the I'm their advisor for academic programs, and then also help with course enrollment. I serve as a registrar as well. So quickly, I'm going to give you a brief overview of what we're going to talk about, and then we will walk through our agenda. And if you have any questions at the end, we'll have some time for some free Q&A. So always dependent on the clicker working. I teach, I'll tell you a little bit about myself while I'm figuring this out. I first was introduced to Batten as an adjunct lecturer of global development policy. So I teach at the undergraduate level and have done so for a few years, and loved Batten and the students so much that I said, how can I participate on a more day-to-day level in the academic programs? And so I just joined the team actually this fall, and my background is international global policy. So what we're going to talk about is, I'll give you a brief overview of academic affairs, our team, who we are, and generally speaking, what we do. Then we'll talk about in more detail the MPP curriculum, and it'll be, it might be more detailed than you can actually, will sort of saturate your brains in this moment, but it's okay. We'll follow up with, tons of information so that you can look over it again and again until, sometimes these more technical points of detail, you have to hear them several times before you feel like very confident that you own them and know them well. So we'll do an overview. We'll talk about the particular skills that we are trying to develop through our accelerated and postgrad MPP programs, specifically the accelerated. We'll talk about our core curriculum structure. We'll talk about Chibo, our complete immersion Batten orientation program. We'll go over some of the common questions about enrollment as an Excel that can feel a little bit tricky, and we're going to walk you through it. And then we'll talk about grades and academic standing. I want you to know and be very familiar with the resources that you will have at hand here, including the Batten Student Portal. We'll talk about that in more detail, and then we'll talk about some additional funding and learning opportunities here. Sound good? I might just be doing some dancing while we do this. So generally speaking, our academic affairs team, we are four strong. There are 4 members of our academic affairs team. We oversee the teaching operations of the Batten School. So this means we manage faculty affairs, academic policies and procedures, academic advising and mentoring. As I mentioned earlier, I'll serve as your advisor. Course offerings and student enrollment, sort of a registrar function here at the Batten School. Student degree progress, degree conferral, hiring students for teaching and research positions as well. So we'll talk a little bit later about some potential opportunities for serving as a GTA, graduate teaching assistant, a course assistant, or a grader. And that function is managed through our office, through academic affairs. On a more macro level, we develop and assess curricula. So that's both, or it includes the Masters of Public Policy, our dual degree programs, and then also our BA, our Bachelor of Arts. And as we do all of these various functions, our goal is to promote an active intellectual environment throughout the school. So that's a quick overview of our office or our team and what we do. I do want to just give you a very brief introduction to the various members of our team that you'll see around Garrett Hall on a day-to-day basis. You see Katie Straight, that's me, when I'm posing for a professional shot outside on the lawn. Christine Nelson, she's our Assistant Director of Undergraduate Academic Programs. So many of you might know her already. She handles advising for all of our undergraduate students in the BA and the minor program. And then Dean Crombie, Amanda Crombie, is Assistant Dean for Academic Programs. She oversees our entire team. Okay, so let's get into some of the details of the MPP curriculum. The first thing that I really want you to know before we jump into detail upon detail is that fundamentally here at the Batten School, we are focused on shaping leaders who can meet the most pressing challenges that our world is facing today and in the future. What that means is that we've developed a curriculum that is very focused on leadership development and developing the skills and capacities that you will need in the policy arena. So typically that falls under 5 different categories. So we're looking at how are you developing your policy analysis skills and the tools and concepts that you will need in your professional life as a policy analyst. Underneath that category, we have Economics 1 and Economics 2, RMDA, which is research methods and data analysis. We have that as a first semester and second semester course, and then a foundational skills workshop. And again, all of these are focused on establishing those conceptual tools that you will need to be able to analyze policy. Then we're also focused on leadership development. How are we creating leaders who are adaptive and able to face the challenges and walk society through the challenges that are ahead of us? We have 3 of our core courses are focused on leadership development. Leadership in the public arena, psychology for leadership, and values-based leadership. And I'm going through this topically, but in a minute I'll show you in a linear trajectory where these fall in each of your semesters of your coursework. For context, we have the Politics of Public Policy course, making sure that you understand all of these various tools and concepts in context of how they actually work out in the field. Applied learning, so this is going to include Intro to Policy Analysis, and your APP project, your Applied Policy Project 1 and 2, you take a first and second semester of this course. This is a capstone. It's a project where you are working one-on-one with a client, and you are able to really put all of the skills and learning to work as you are essentially operating almost as a consultant with a client outside of the Batten School to get that kind of expertise and experience that will lead you into your professional career. So in addition to these 12 core courses that I've listed topically, you also have the option to take 15 elective credits. Now I'm saying you have the option, you have to take 15 elective credits, but you get to decide which of those courses, which courses fall into those 15 credits. So total, you have the 12 core course credits, or sorry, you have the 12 core courses, the 15 elective credits, and that's going to add up to the total 49 credits for the MPP Masters. These electives, we are flexible about the way that these electives are typically structured. So some of these might be a 3-credit elective, very similar to the core courses. Others are going to be 2-credit policy clinics or 1-credit short courses. So we'll have a 5-week short course specific to a particular policy topic. And then you can actually build those, you have 3 of those in one semester, and it adds up to a 3-credit elective. And then in the summer between your first and second year, you are required to do a 400-hour summer internship as part of the MPP requirement. We can talk about that a little bit more later. Let me show you in a linear way what this looks like in terms of walking through from start to finish the MPP curriculum. So we're going to start with Chibo, which is our summer complete immersion Batten orientation. I'll talk about this in more depth in a minute, so I'm going to skip over it for now. But that's really the orientation, your first introduction to Batten faculty, to Batten as a school, to each other as a cohort, and it's a really unique experience. Your fall of your first year, we're going to be looking at Econ 1, Research Methods and Data Analysis 1, Psych for Leadership, and then that's that Foundational Skills Workshop, FSW. Spring of your first year is when you'll move from Econ 1 and RMDA 1 to Econ 2 and RMDA 2. They build off of each other. And then you'll be taking Intro to Policy Analysis. And again, this is built so that it scaffolds, so that you are developing the skills needed to eventually in APP 1 and APP 2, your applied policy project, really put the knowledge and skills to work. So in the fall of your second year, that is when we run the APP course. The first semester is APP 1. In the spring, you'll be finishing up that same project. It's a linear project. In the fall, you also have value-based leadership, politics of public policy, and then you can choose 2 electives. And in the spring, you're going to be finishing up the APP 2. You'll have leadership in the public arena, again, a leadership-focused course. And then you have the choice of 3 electives. I want to talk to you a little bit about the electives because at Batten, we are very lucky that we attract some of the nation's top scholar practitioners. And that is across a diversity of policy areas, right? So some of the sample 3-credit electives that we offer now, and this is a very small sampling. I was sort of wishing I could double or triple this, but just to give you a taste. So we have Congress 101, National Security Process, International Humanitarian Assistance, Leading and Managing Diverse Groups, Federal and State Budgeting, Healthcare Politics and Policy. We have a variety of global policy classes focused on policy towards China or national security. We have a number of courses, depending on the semester, focused on education policy, which is my personal background. So there's a lot to choose from once you're here, depending on your particular area of policy focus. And each of these is going to be tackling the most pressing, timely policy challenges within the coursework itself. Chibo. How many of you have heard Chibo before? Courtney says yeah. Okay. Anybody know that it also means food in Italian? It's like, we sort of laugh about that because we do a lot of eating during Chibo as well. But it stands here for Complete Immersion Batten Orientation. And we find that it is a critical piece of our overall curriculum plan because of how it enables students to enter and hit the ground running, as it's a short program. I mean, a master's program is 4 semesters, 2 years, and it's fast and furious. This allows you to acclimate to the school and then also to oftentimes reacclimate to some of the quantitative skills that perhaps some of you may have not had for a while, looking at econ, stats, RMDA. It's required, I think you know this at this point, but just to reiterate, it's a required part of the master's program here. There are 2 parts of it, and I'll talk about each of them in a little bit more detail, but it's not graded, it's non-credit bearing. It is provided by the Batten School free of charge. And the overall idea, again, is to make sure that you are equipped with the skills that you need to really succeed in this program. You're building the comradeship with your cohort. You are acclimating to Batten as a school, and you're easing into some of these sometimes quantitative skills that students have had some distance from, or even writing skills often that students may have had some distance from. Accelerated students, that's less common because you've actively been pursuing your undergraduate degree, but it is required for both the Excels and the postgrads. So part 1 is the online, sorry, I'm going back here. I'm trying to switch this here. Chibo Analytics Refresher. And depending on the terms of your admittance, you may be required to take analytics for the MPP, or you may have the option to either take analytics for the MPP or the microeconomics refresher and test out. So analytics for the MPP, just to give you a quick overview, is really a refresher of key concepts of algebra, differential calculus. It's geared more for students who did not have a major or minor in economics, maybe feel like they could use some extra quantitative acclimation and skill building before hitting the ground running in grad school. The microeconomics refresher and test out is a review of intermediate microeconomics. It's intended for people with a pretty substantial economic background, either a major or a minor. And at the end of this microeconomics, you have an opportunity to test out, to substitute out of LPPA 6100, which is the Econ 1 course. There's also an opportunity to test out of RMDA 1 at the end of the part 1 of Chibo as well. It's online. It is asynchronous, so it's you're able to access it as you need. Starting June 1, it will go live, and then again, depending on the terms of your acceptance, the due date might be July 1 or it might be earlier, and that's going to be dependent on your acceptance terms. The second part of Chibo is super fun because we get to be in person and meet each other and start to really do some cohort and team building and meet in person with faculty, meet Batten staff, really get a better sense for Charlottesville, which you guys are all quite familiar with at this point. But also we have postgrad MPP students who are coming in that you get to meet, who are coming from a variety of areas and aren't as familiar with Charlottesville or university, or the University of Virginia in general. So it's a 2-week onboarding program in August. This year it runs from August 8th through 12th is that first week, and then 15th through 19th is that second week. So it's essentially the 8th through the 19th. It is required. It is a mandatory part of the overall MPP curriculum. It includes a series of activities, team building activities, seminars, conversations with faculty, mock lectures, discussions, and it basically offers the information that you need to thrive at Batten, to feel like on day 1, you are ready to dive into your coursework and feel really equipped as a student. So put that on your calendars, plan to be here for that. It runs from 8 to 5, August 8th through August 19th. Okay. Sorry, the clicker is a little bit delayed. So let's talk about some of the common questions specific to enrollment for accelerated MPPs. So can accelerated MPP students satisfy an elective requirement early? So the Commonwealth of Virginia requires a minimum of 30 credit hours post you receiving either your BA or BS for it to count as a graduate degree. So that means in the second year of the MPP program, you have to complete 30 credit hours. Batten expects our accelerated MPPs to take at least 15 credits for the fall and spring of the first year. So it's not unlike the second year because we expect you to take 30 per semester. But what it means is that the minimum credits preclude getting ahead, because even if you were to try to, for instance, your first year, you take 10 Batten credits plus your 5 undergraduate credits to make the 15. You take the 9 Batten credits in the spring plus your 6 to make the 15 in the spring. Well, you're not going to be able to have front loaded that first year because you, no matter what, have to take 30 credits. So you wouldn't be able to say like, I'm going to take, 17 and 17, and then I only need to take 9 and 9, whatever the actual math is there. You have to be able to, you have to take the 30 your second year. And it can be, just to not to get into the weeds here too much, but it can be 14 and 16. It can be 15 and 15 and 15. This is a basic math lesson right now. But it doesn't have to be 15-15. It doesn't have to be equally divided, but it does have to be 30 total. Okay, question 2. Why does academic affairs have to enroll me in my courses? This is a frustration for some because you're used to being able to enroll in your own courses through SIS. Because you are still officially undergraduate students in your first year, I have to enroll you as the registrar at Batten for our graduate students. And I'll enroll you in graduate classes because SIS will not allow you to enroll in graduate classes without permission. So that will be my job. You'll be notified of the core courses. I will send an email as enrollment is starting to gear up for the fall. So this is late March. March 25th is when the shopping carts open. I will send you an email with detailed information about the core courses that are required and the times that they are being offered. And then there'll be an online platform and a way for you to basically list your preferred courses and times. And then I'll circle back and tell you whether or not you were able to get your first or second choice and what classes you are currently enrolled in. And again, there'll be a detailed email about all of that. I don't expect you to remember it all currently. Question 3, does my Batten coursework count toward my undergraduate 120 credit hour requirement and GPA? Yes. So keep in mind that any coursework that you are doing as an undergraduate counts towards your undergraduate degree. It also counts towards your GPA. So because you're still enrolled as an undergraduate, in the eyes of the university, you are still a 4th-year student. Question 4, does my Batten coursework count toward my 102 in-college credit hour requirement? This is where it gets a little bit more complicated. Of the 19 credit hours that you take in your first year as an accelerated student, 12 of those count towards the in-college credits. So students in the college can count 12 accelerated MPP credits as inside the college, provided that you continue with the program through the 2nd year, okay? So those are counted towards your in-college credits, provided that you plan to continue with the accelerated MPP into your 2nd year. And finally, I am an econ major. Do I have to take LPPA, Econ 1? And what is the answer to that question based on the information I presented earlier? This is a quick quiz. You're shaking your head. Yeah, go ahead.
It sounds like.
Exactly, yeah. So you will have the opportunity at the end of the first part of Chibo, the asynchronous online refresher, to review the economic concepts and then take a placement test. If you score high enough on that placement test, then we can deem that you are able to substitute an extra 3 credits of graduate electives for Econ 1. It's important to note here that substituting Econ 1 or RMDA 1, because you also have an opportunity to test out of RMDA 1, does not mean that you have fulfilled those credits and now you don't, that's 3 of the 49. It means you don't need to take that course. You still need to fulfill 49 credits as part of your MPP. Does that make sense? So basically what we do is it buys you an extra elective that maybe is something of core policy interest. And then I just want you to see this because we often have students asking about what is required to remain in good academic standing at Batten. And I'm actually not going to read through it, but I just do want you to be familiar with it. You have to have a final grade of a B- or higher in all of your core courses of the degree program. It's very, very common for a competitive Masters of Public Policy program to have very rigorous academic standards. And I want you to be familiar with them coming in so that you're aware of the standard to which you will be held. And frankly, which we know you are capable of. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the resources here. So the first thing I want to tell you about is the Batten Student Portal. Have any of you already been on the Batten Student Portal? Yes. Oh, I see a lot of head shaking. That's fantastic. This is really your go-to resource for so many of the questions that you have are answered here in the student portal. It also is a way for you to set up advising appointments, either with me and the academic affairs team, with the career, the career team, and then also the I'm blanking on words. Also Anne and her team, the admissions team. So this is the go-to resource for being able to set up those meetings. There's a link within the portal where you can just, click on, you'll see a picture of me. You'll see a link that says click to schedule a meeting. You click it, it comes into my inbox, and it's a very simple, streamlined way for us to be able to meet and make sure that we are on the same page in terms of academic advising and what you need to be doing for your academic progress, and additionally for student services and for career services as well. Also, there is a FAQs page on this portal that answers so many questions. Please, if you have questions that I don't answer or Anne doesn't answer today or in the next couple of days, go here first and see if it's listed, because so often it's a great question and it means that somebody's asked it before, and we've listed it here in detail to make sure that you have all the information you need, because you're asking good questions. So I want to alert you to that. And then also, I just want to quickly tell you a little bit about our research centers. So Batten is also, not only, we're not only a isolated school of public policy here at the University of Virginia. We're a hub for research that ends up affecting other conversations around policy throughout the University of Virginia, the country, and the globe. Of our research centers, currently we have 5. I'm not going to get into the details, but I want to alert you in case any of these are going to touch a sweet spot in terms of your policy area of interest. So we have the Center on Education Policy and Workforce Competitiveness, Center for Effective Lawmaking, Global Policy Center, National Security Policy Center, and the Center for Social Innovation. And each of these centers, depending on the need per semester, can have opportunities for research assistance. So if there's one that you're particularly interested in, I encourage you to do some research. All of this is available online at our website. See who are the faculty members who are specifically connected to each of those research centers, and see if maybe a possible research assistantship would be of interest in the future. Additionally, we have the teaching assistant role. So rising second-year MPP students are eligible to apply with the to assist with the instruction of some of the core courses. GTAs, the graduate teaching assistant, you receive in-state tuition for the semester, a health insurance coverage, and then a stipend. And it changes annually. Currently, it's a $6,000 stipend. So it's in-state tuition, health insurance, and a $6,000 stipend. Additionally, there is a course assistant role and also a grader role. And I won't get into the details there, but there's for each of those, typically in a normal semester, we might have 15 to 20 GTA positions, 30 CA positions, and 10 graders available. And all of these positions the decisions are made by faculty and then the academic affairs team. And then, as I mentioned, periodically and contingent on individual faculty needs, there are some opportunities to do some research assistantships. Okay, so I've walked through the overview of the curriculum and basic resources that are here. I want to open up the floor. I just did a ton of talking with a lot of information, and I want to open up the floor if you have questions to be able to engage those, because if you're thinking something, probably somebody else in the room is too. Yeah, go ahead.
Are the econ courses essentially like at the intermediate level? That's why, right?
Yeah, they're master's level econ courses. So
sorry, it's like the equivalent of testing out of them. Is that like having the knowledge from undergrads, intermediate econ 1 and 2?
That is a good question. It's roughly equivalent. I don't know, I haven't specifically looked through the parameters around it. Anne's going to answer this because she has a better sense.
There are direct equivalents to undergraduate econ courses, and I'm completely going to get the analogies wrong, so I'm not going to even pretend. But one is Econ 3010, intermediate micro. One is, now I'm looking at Courtney for help.
So the second one is considered public or tax economics. It's not one that you typically take at the undergrad level.
And then one is an econometrics course as well, is embedded
RMDA.
within the RMDA. So I can get that exact list for you. Yeah.
Just to clarify, we have 11 credits that we take in the college, that like next year, we have 11. You said we take 9 credits for Batten in the fall and 10 in the spring.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how many, I guess my question is, how many credits do we have left to finish our undergraduate degree?
Well, it's going to depend on what your particular track is in your undergraduate degree. So, and you'll continue to have your undergraduate advisor to be able to advise on that. But in terms of what you are adding to what is required to graduate as an undergraduate in your 4th year, you will have those required core courses at Batten for the accelerated MPP. Does that make sense? Okay. I want to go back to it for you guys. Are there other questions? Yes, go ahead.
Is the arts and science class requirement relaxed with Batten at all? Do you know?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Sorry. So the arts and science college class requirement, the credit minimum that you need from the college, is that relaxed due to the master's program, or is that still stands as it is?
No, it stands as it is. So it's the 120 required as under 2 for in-college credit. And we, because of the master's program, have a understanding with the college that includes 12 of the credits that you take here at Batten that will go towards that 102 in college. Does that answer your question?
That's awesome.
Okay.
We have a question in the chat online. Did I hear correctly that we can test out of Econ 1 and RMDA 1 after the first part of Chibo that ends on August 15th? And I think they mean July 1st.
Yes, there is an opportunity in the first part of Chibo to test at the end of the online asynchronous section, and to actually, if you score high enough, for the academic affairs team to determine that you can test out of Econ 1 or RMDA 1.
Amanda Crombie has given us the answer. Econ 1 is 3010. RMDA 1 is 3720. And there's more. Econ 1 only for testing out. You don't test out of RMDA, but the content is similar to 3720. Did that help or confuse things?
That helps.
Okay.
I guess follow-up question to that.
Yeah.
At the end there, were you saying we don't test out of RMDA 1 if we did 3720?
Correct. Everybody takes RMDA 1 and 2.
Got it.
Yeah.
Unless Amanda wants to unmute herself and respond to that.
Sorry, I didn't know if I could. At this time, everybody takes RMDA 1. Econ 1 has the ability for a test out. Correct?
Okay, so my apologies. I absolutely gave you the wrong information. So it's only Econ 1 that you can test out of. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, disembodied voice from the cloud.
Sorry.
Any other questions?
For the first part of Chibo, so it starts June 1st, or does that, because I read in the email that's when you have to finish the final, and you have 2 weeks after to finish the final. Does that mean that the modules open before June 1st?
Depending on the terms of your acceptance, you might have different dates within which you need to complete the Chibo online course.
I'm happy to follow up if you have specific questions about your conditions. The online module opens for everyone June 1st. If you have a condition of your offer requiring you take it and pass a certain threshold, it has to be completed by June 15th. And I can answer any other questions that you might have one-on-one.
Sorry, where do we see those conditions?
They were in your offer letter, if there are any. Some students had conditions, some just had a kind of a pure admittance. Usually, if you aren't from a quantitative background, we did like to infuse a little bit more of that analytics and quantitative stuff into your offer.
Say that again, the 400-hour internship. Yeah, it is, but I'm happy to talk about it as well. Yeah, so basically, again, knowing that being able to take the knowledge from the classroom and the skills that you're learning and developing and actually apply them in the field is critical for your success in the policy arena and your professional success overall. We have embedded this 400-hour curriculum between the 2 years of your MPP. It can be, you can work with the Career Services Center to find an appropriate organization with whom to intern or company with whom to intern. But the idea is that you would look for somebody who is specifically working in a policy area of interest. And ideally, if you have an experience with them that is positive and they feel positively about you, that sometimes can parlay into a continued APP project or employment post receiving your master's in public policy. Go ahead.
So this is not trying to that, but just like another question. As far as I remember, the answer to this question is no, but just to like confirm. So next year, because if we like do a program, do we still have to do the sciences, like the genetic requirements? They have to take like the AIP or the Science and Society or the Living System, like those sort of requirements?
Yeah, whatever is required for your undergraduate degree will still be required. Go ahead.
And I know this might be hard to answer generally, but that internship, if it's something that may be like policy adjacent, if that's a petition to like allow it to be considered, specifically like consulting or banking.
Yes, if you can make the case for how that particular internship is complementing your coursework and your particular policy focus, then we are going to support you as you try to pursue that.
And the good thing is this lovely student portal that Katie showed you. Through there, there's a internship acceptance form. So you'd actually be filling out the form with the internship that you found. It gets approved by Steve. He might have some questions or things like that. But yeah, they've definitely worked with students with consulting and banking before.
Thank you.
Great question. Well, we are, again, very pleased to welcome you as admitted accelerated MPPs. We hope that you will join us. If you have follow-up questions in the coming days or weeks, please feel free to reach out to Anne or myself, especially as, again, I look for an email from me in the coming weeks in March about course enrollment. And I'll walk you through that process, and we'll meet to do academic advising looking towards next fall. All right, well, have a great afternoon, evening, I guess, at this point. And again, if you have other questions, just circle back. We're always available.
Is there anywhere we can get like a letter of acceptance rather than the email?
And I would be glad to, create a letter from, so you and I have some follow-up. Be sure to write to me so I can see who I need to produce these things for.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And if anyone else wants one, you can email Batten admissions. I'm happy to print one up for you. Just because some people want to frame it and put it on their fridge. So
Throw some stickers in, get some more swag. It's something to celebrate. So we absolutely want to help you do that.